Hello and welcome back to my channel, guys. So in this video we'll talk about Blessing versus Oluchi in and Return of the Orphan Hunt, and I'll tell you guys how I wrote the fight. So let's get into the video. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is, during the fight I was kind of cutting between some of the previous fights they've had and flashing. That's I was cutting between flashbacks of some of their previous fights versus this current fight they are fighting. And that idea actually came from two different fights. Originally it came from Kakashi versus Obito, because if you watch Kakashi versus Obito in Naruto, during that fight they were kind of flashing back to a particular fight they had when they were kids, and it also came for Echo versus Jinx. But we'll soon get to that Echo part. It's just the general idea of that fight and me cutting between fight. The idea first came from Kakashi versus Obito, and the reason for that was because obviously Blessing, I introduced Oluchi in this particular chapter, and so I don't have enough time to kind of flesh out her rivalry with Blessing. And the thing about them is that they've had 10 previous fights in the past, and Blessing won 9 while Oluchi won just 1, and that one that Oluchi won was their first ever fight, you get. And I wanted to kind of, or I kind of always had this idea, or I think when I was planning their backstory, kind of this whole they've had 10 fights and Oluchi won 1 and things like that, I had to like think about all those 10 fights and kind of watch or analyze the fights in my mind and think of why Oluchi or why Blessing won each particular fight and how each particular fight went and things like that, you get. So I wanted to kind of show the reason there was a particular outlier or something like where, or kind of honing on that particular one fight. Why was it that Blessing lost that particular fight, which was their first? You understand? But it is, I didn't really have time to do it because I was focusing on the plot in this orphan hunt. You get, and at the same time, if I was going to explore that particular one fight they had, I also had to explore the other 10 fights to get to that fight. But I didn't have time to do that, and that's why I said, okay, I need to find a way to kind of sneak in their previous fights. And that's why I got the idea from Kakashi and Obito to kind of use flashbacks of, let's say, a particular important moment in this fight. Kind of my idea is kind of like the same thing that Echo did to Jinx, where he and Jinx had their particular fight in the past and Jinx won that time, but now he's using the experience he got from that previous fight they had to kind of outmaneuver Jinx this time. And that's what I wanted to do, where in this particular fight there will be certain instances where I'll say, okay, this moment is exactly how it happened in one of their previous fights in the past, and that's why maybe Blessing now knows how to outmaneuver this move when she wasn't able to do before. Only she knows how to get past this thing that Blessing is doing when she couldn't get past it in the past. You guys kind of, they are learning from it, and that's where the idea of me flashing back came from. So the fight started from when Blessing saw Oluchi in the, that's when she was running out to go and find the third talisman, and she saw Oluchi fighting one of the hooded men, and he was kind of on sight, and she spared him, you get. And when I was planning the choreography of this fight, I have a book where my book where I used to plan everything. I used to plot out everything. Maybe when I finish this video I'll snap it and post so you guys can see. But when I was planning it, I see that it was kind of in my mind like, okay, Blessing sees Oluchi as she's going out, and since she's on time she has to start the fight immediately. And that's where in my mind the only way to start it was kind of like a spare Roman Reigns kind of distance. So that's why I thought she's going to spare her. And then there was this other picture that I've, or artwork that I've always been seeing on Pinterest, where a girl spares another girl, and while they are flying the other girl now like hits her on her back and punches her to the ground. So I said, okay, I'm going to do something similar, that when Blessing spares her, she's going to dig her heels into the ground to stop that half on that momentum. Then she will pound Blessing in the back before she will carry her for a power bomb. Then when she carried out for a power bomb, obviously since you're on high, it's going to kind of be throwing Hail Mary punches, elbows and things like that. But that was how she won one of the previous fights in the past. But this time, obviously, Oluchi is more mature and she's capable of enduring more pain. Yes, so she powers through the pain and she bites. I think she beats Blessing on her lap, and I added down just kind of to add blood into it so that it would be more brutal, that kind of thing. She should beat on her. She now try to give her a power bomb, but Bless will now outmaneuver the power bomb and turn it into a Hurricane or something. And that one I got it from Rey Mysterio in WWE, but I didn't know the name, so I remember I kept on browsing different ways that this thing Rey Mysterio used to do, or Rey Mysterio move. The one final I got that the name is Hurricane, and then I started watching different videos of how Rey Mysterio did to figure out how I'm going to kind of describe it. So when she turned it into a Hurricane, she will turn with the momentum of them falling and hook these girls and hook Oluchi's leg into like a figure, no, into a calf crusher leg lock, and that one I got it from AJ Styles when AJ Styles was fighting this guy Brock Lesnar, and he gave him this thing, this same leg lock. So I now kind of flashback again to the past, where to add more this thing, but this is also where kind of to write a good fight you also need a good ending to that fight, and my ending was always going to be Semra, that kind of thing, since their conflict always, or many things that is to do with Blessings, always Semra, Semra abandoning her when she was little and her trying to get back and things like that. So I decided to flashback and say, okay, I need to add Semra in one of their flashbacks, and this was when Blessing used a similar move in one of their previous fights when they were little, and this time she didn't expect Oluchi to tap out, but Oluchi actually tapped out in that fight, and everyone in the crowd were jeering or booing Blessing for kind of not letting her go after she tapped out. But I said from Semra was just looking disappointed, and that just made Blessing angry. So Blessing kind of tries to rush back, but the referee stops her. But now the referee isn't present now in this their present fight, and she's not, kind of in her mind she vowed she's not going to stop until she snaps Oluchi's leg off. Yeah, but this time obviously Oluchi is more, let's say, more resistant, or more, she has a higher threshold for pain. Yeah, so she'll grab Blessing, she'll reach back, grab Blessing and start bouncing it. And in the book I described it like she started dribbling Blessing's head like a basketball, and that's because that was what the commentator in WWE, Michael Cole, that's what he said when Brock Lesnar did the same thing. He grabbed AJ Styles head and started bouncing it on the ground, and Michael Cole was like he's dribbling AJ's head like a basketball, you get. And since that idea for the whole calf crusher season came, I also took the commentary kind of to pay homage, that kind of thing, let people know that this is where the idea is from. So after that they'll kind of separate and start talking, and I think they'll first talk about, because Bless is kind of, at one point Bless will be like, oh, let's start fight, let us leave this talk and start fighting, let me make it 10 wins in a row. And Oluchi will be like, I wonder why you like that wording of 10 wins in a row instead of 10-1 or 10-9-1, you understand? And that's because Bless will be like, it's because I was kind of, it wasn't fair back then during our first fight, and I allowed you to win, you understand? So we'll kind of later on, after this fight, later on we'll see explore kind of why she thinks she allowed Oluchi to win during that first fight and things like that. But that I'm saving it for later. So when they, and I think they also talk about Semra and about how kind of Oluchi is jealous of her because of her all her innate talent and innate ATCPs, when Oluchi actually abandoned her own ATCP just so that she could start learning potions to kind of make Blessing jealous, because she knows that what Blessing wants more than anything is to learn potions so that she can be close to Semra, who is the potion mistress, you get. And she actually abandoned her own ATCP to learn that potions so that she can be close to Semra, and kind of taking Semra away from Blessing in a way. Just, I don't know if he just take it as story logic, that kind of thing. And obviously that's part of why Blessing hates her more, because Blessing wants Semra, but Oluchi, is her rival, is with Semra, that kind of whole, they say. So they start the fight again, and this part of the fight is actually where I now modeled after this guy, after the Echo vs Jinx fight in Arcane, where Jinx was shooting guns and so Echo was dodging it based on the way he dodged when the first time they played a similar game, and he dodged and kind of eventually got hit. But now he's older, he's more mature, he knows Jinx, and he knows how Jinx shoots because of the experience he had from the past, and he was able to outmaneuver it. And it's a similar kind of something where Blessing, there's a time where the first spell, because Oluchi will throw her pouch, then the pouch will fall, then but I think five potions fell out of the pouch as she threw it in the air, and out of those five potions, four remained in mid-air while one fell down. So out of those four potions, she will hit the first one, and it's going to be like a lightning bolt. And so Blessing will jump over the lightning bolt. And the thing about lightning bolt, originally I was supposed to just be something like Blessing jumped over the lightning bolt or something. Or I wanted to like describe it well, because the way this guy Echo, I think, somersaulted over Jinx's bullet was kind of cool. So I wanted to like kind of like slow it down, like a slow motion in writing form, where I'll hone in on Blessing jumping over the lightning, and the lightning kind of, like make it feel dangerous despite the fact she's already over it. And there was also a place I saw that, I think, I don't know exactly where I saw it, but I saw that lightning is actually as hot as the surface of the sun or something like that. So I said, okay, since he's just over it, he'll feel that heat. And the heat, she'll be feeling like her earring is melting, you get, to kind of sell the illusion. So when she will land, she'll use the experience she has from the past and duck immediately, because she knows another projectile is coming. That's how she will also evade the remaining this thing. But at the last, when she's now close, kind of after evading all those potions that Oluchi has shot at her, she's now close. But Oluchi has just one final shot, and from experience, Blessing knows that that shot is going to be an omnidirectional attack that she can't dodge. Get, and so when Oluchi unleashes it, she will think that she has won. But finally, she realized that Blessing actually used one less magic, because at the beginning of this fight, Blessing threw away her wand. Maybe at the moment you think maybe it's just anger or arrogance or something, but we'll still come back to the reason she threw away her wand later on. But so Blessing actually used one less magic to teleport behind her back and kind of grab her and give her this thing. Kotango, Chase, or Brock Lesnar's suplex. Then she tried it again, but this time this girl Oluchi who can find a way to get out of it, you get, and that's when we kind of do force this thing to check out each other, then do not start wrestling. And the wrestling idea came from the fact that in every anime or every movie or every cartoon I've watched, most of the time when they're doing this close quarters combat somewhere, and it's not magic or like where they're shooting spells or shooting fire or something, like usually just hand to hand. It's mainly like martial arts, kung fu, that kind of thing. I've not really seen in any film or cartoon or anime where it is wrestling, you get. And I thought that, okay, this is going to be something new. Imagine, because I'm looking from the perspective of one day this will be animated or acted. I say it's going to be like a breath of fresh air where people are watching a fight and it's in just this, you understand, it's something where they are wrestling and you can feel it. So I went and started browsing different wrestling fights. I watched, I think, first of all, I was learning different moves from that suplex part where Blessing gave suplex, or those power bombs, or the Horirankana. I was watching many YouTube videos about different lessons where they are teaching like how to do a suplex, how to escape these moves you can do to escape a suplex or to prevent a suplex, things like that. Then I also watch different fights to see how a wrestling will go. I watch many Khabib's fight. Then finally I think I saw a video on YouTube that was titled "The Best Ever Wrestling Match of All Time" between one guy, Kate Rolentolo, and one other guy. I don't know, maybe I'll show you this thing. And one other guy, and I now watched that fight, and I said, okay, I'm going to take many things from these wrestling fights, and that's what I now decided to do. And I was describing like that, and obviously if I start honing in and describing every move, it was going to be too long or too boring eventually. So I just say, okay, let the readers imagine it by themselves. So I just say things like it was a strange soup of, like, where you just think of they are using all forms of move, like headlock, this one lock, that one lock, red leg twisting, using, you get, it's kind of me saying I'm trying to describe a fight and said they threw kicks, punches, and this one and this person blocked and through this way, and you are just in your mind, you'll be the one imagining what kind of kick. Maybe you imagine an overhead kick, another person imagine a leg sweep or something. Yes, let them think about it. As I said, then eventually that's what we now. And another reason I wanted the whole wrestling thing was, apart from it going to be like, because I wanted it to be a breath of fresh air, like a fight in an animated medium or in live action medium that isn't just hand to hand. It's going to be wrestling where they're close. Another reason I wanted to do it wrestling instead of hand to hand combat, because wrestling, you guys are going to be close. Your bodies will be together, trying to outmaneuver the other person, choke out the next person. But it is you people are close together. You understand? And that's the thing. The way I look at Oluchi and Blessing is in a very strange way. Although they are rivals and they have hated each other for a very long time, at the same time, because of this hate they have for each other for a very long time, it also makes them the closest. They are closer to each other than anyone else. You get, it's kind of, they are almost best friends in the sense that, because they hate each other, they have always been stalking each other for a long time, and so they know it's kind of, if you are going, if I want to, Blessing wants to do something bad to Oluchi, she needs to know something that is going to hurt Oluchi. And obviously, in a search of something that is going to hurt Oluchi, she's inadvertently going to find out many things that Oluchi likes before she'll get to the things that Oluchi hates. You understand that kind of thing? So they know each other to a very, very like extreme degree. They, like almost in a way that no one else can know you, not even your best friend. That's how close they know each other. You get, so they are that close, but at the same time they are fighting. You understand? I don't know if what I'm saying is making any sense. Well, that's just what I wanted to show, that because of this, their hatred, they are closest to each other than anyone else, but at the same time, they hate each other. So that's that fight. Yeah. So eventually, that's where that whole potions thing, where Oluchi threw potions and 5 potions when they stood remained in middle, while one fell down. That's when that one that fell down is going to come back into play, and it turned out to be a polyjuice potion, obviously gotten from a reporter, and it's going to be a polyjuice potion to turn her into Semra. And seeing Semra, when she turns Oluchi and she sees Semra face, it's going to kind of shock Blessing. You understand? This whole thing is kind of like Oluchi stole Semra from her and something like that. It's kind of the kind of logic there. Yeah, that when she sees Semra, it's kind of in a way she forgets that. It's just like, imagine you are fighting someone now, and you know that this person is your enemy, but somehow now this person just does a thing where he turns into your son or something. Like, you might know that this person is, yes, this is not my son or something, but at the same time, you won't really be able to throw a punch at someone who has your son face. You understand that kind of logic? And that's what is going to happen to Blessing. And we'll allow Oluchi grab a pistol and knock Blessing out cold. And that was how, I think, I don't know if I don't know other. Um, what else? I don't know. There are probably many things I missed, but maybe another day I can. Because it's my phone I'm using to record the video. To say I was reading each line by line, every single line, there's something important about every single line and how I picked it out. But maybe another time. For now, we're at the end of the video. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the video. If you haven't read Barbara Occult and the Breath of Life, you can go and read it on my website tuva.com. And if you've read it, please share to other people, and thank you.